Now it is my esteemed pleasure to introduce the Governor of the great state of New York, Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It is truly my pleasure to be back in Syracuse today, to be in DeWitt. Actually, I'm not here for this economic development announcement. I'm here for the Film Hub. I have an idea for a movie that I'm here to film today. And it's a little novel, but I can see a reality series, like a hybrid. Governor of New York meets Orange County Chopper, meets Fast and Loud, meets the Survivor series in the context of the Dirty Jobs show. You know, if you put all that together, there's a winner in there. And we're going to start shooting today. That's why we built this Film Hub, so it all comes together. Actually, it's a pleasure to be in this Film Hub. This is something we spoke about in March 2014. We announced this idea and this plan just a couple of years ago, and we're here today. It's working, it's filming, it's employing people, it's already done a movie, it's planning to do its second movie. So these are not just ideas and plans we announce. These happen, they happen quickly, they're implemented, and they make a real difference in people's lives, and that's why it's so appropriate to be here today. Let's give the Film Hub a round of applause and all those who worked to make it a reality. To Mr. Parker, welcome to Central New York. We welcome you here. We welcome you to New York. We're glad you're bringing your business here, and you won't be disappointed. Let's give him a warm Central New York welcome. To Howard Zemsky, who is working night and day. He's working harder in the public sector than he ever did in the private sector. He's focused like a laser beam on doing one thing, which is bringing jobs to upstate New York, and he's doing a great job. Commissioner Zemsky. Dr. Calleros, who really has been the father of this entire nano-economic vision for the state of New York. This vision was right. He has been on it for 20 years. He saw it before anyone else did. And he has brought single-handedly a world-class industry to the state of New York that is reaping more and more and more dividends, and this state owes him a tremendous debt of obligation. Dr. Calleros. We then have all these great ideas, and we give them to your county executive to implement. So she has to do the hard work and the heavy lifting, but she gets it done because she's all about competence and capacity, and she gets that government is supposed to deliver. It's not about talking, it's not about articulating, it's about bringing people together to get things done, and that's what she's all about. County Executive Joni Mahoney. To all the other elected officials and to my colleagues who are here, Gary Finch, Bill McGee, Bill Magnorelli, and Senator Dave Valesky, I hope the money basically comes from allocations in the legislature, and they are my partner in government, and they are always a pleasant and warm and fuzzy and willing partner of the legislature, or at least this delegation. But I hope they noticed the little mention that Central New York has actually won the most money, $320 million, from the economic development competitions. And the story today is really the continuation of the story and the vision that we have been talking about for a couple of years now. We said that upstate New York had gone through a period of terrible decline. And what bothered me most when I was in upstate New York was all the discussion, all the talk was about the history, about what was. And all the discussion was the good old days, and what Buffalo was, and what Rochester was, and what Syracuse was, and remember when Carrier was here, remember Lockheed. It was 40 years of yesterdays, and no discussion of tomorrow, and no vision of tomorrow, and no vision of where we're going. Recalling yesterday is nice. Planning and building for tomorrow is better and more productive. And that's what we said the challenge was for upstate New York. And we said basically there were 3 steps we went through. First step was to acknowledge the problem. You'll never solve a problem you're unwilling to admit. Acknowledge the problem, acknowledge that we had to do something about it, acknowledge how we got there. And part of the way we got there was that the state government was not attentive to the needs of upstate New York. I say that as the governor of New York State. It doesn't make me proud or happy, but that is true. The government in Albany was very focused on downstate. Majority of the legislators come from downstate. We love downstate, but we love upstate too. And the state of New York was not being attentive. Number 2, a lot of what the state was doing was actually counterproductive. Why? Because it was raising taxes, raising taxes, raising taxes. And people are mobile and businesses are mobile and they're smart. You keep raising taxes and people will leave. And you become the highest tax state in the nation. And you know what? Young people leave. And that's what happened in upstate New York. How many families will tell you about their child, their son, their daughter, who moved away to find a job in another state, and they wish they were here, but the state virtually chased them from upstate New York with the taxation policies. So we had to reverse that, and we did. We have brought down the increase in state spending to the lowest level in modern political history. Just think about that. Every year, the state government spent about 5 or 6% more and raised taxes 5 or 6% more. Every year. For the first time in 50 years, we've gotten state spending under control, where it has now been under 2% for the past 5 years. Because we could reduce spending, we could then reduce taxes. And we reduced taxes for every New Yorker over the past 4 years in every income bracket. You reduce taxes, you make the government more efficient, you see the private sector flourish. Today in this state, we have more private sector jobs than we ever have had in history, period. That's how well this state is doing. And then we went one step forward, which we said, first step is for government to remove the obstacles. We did that. That's what reducing taxes was all about. That's what changing our attitude was all about. We're not anti-business. We want to facilitate business. We want to cut regulations. We want to work with business to grow. But then we took it another step forward with a concept we called entrepreneurial government. Entrepreneurial government. Now think about those 2 words. Most people would think that's an oxymoron, entrepreneurial government. How can government be entrepreneurial? Government is usually the opposite. No, not today. Smart government should be entrepreneurial. A smart government for today should be working with the private sector, reaching out to businessmen saying, how can I help you grow? What do you need? How do I make your business do better? Because if your business does better, you create more jobs, I have more opportunity, more people are working, more people are paying taxes, they're buying homes, they're buying gasoline, they're buying food. How does government partner with businesses to affirmatively help and invest businesses grow? And we then determined a segment of the market that we believe is going to be the future. And it puts 2 pieces together, nanotechnology, which is chip development, reduced size chips, which has been a proven success for 20 years with Dr. Calleros, and the area of clean energy, because that is the future. Because if this country is going to survive, if this planet is going to survive, we have to do more and more in terms of clean energy. And this state can be our own best customer because we have to reduce our fossil fuels and save energy in this state. So we took that cluster of businesses in the economy, nano clean energy, and we said, entrepreneurially, let's grow and invest in those areas. And it is working all across the state. You go to Buffalo, largest solar panel manufacturer in the Western Hemisphere, at Riverbend, largest solar manufacturer in the Western Hemisphere. You go to Utica, we're bringing GE back to Utica, New York, which is the same place they left decades ago when they moved to another state that shall be named, and now they're coming back to Utica where they left. It's photonics in Rochester, right? It's nano in the Capital District. And this cluster then feeds on itself, because that's how the private sector economy works. You get to a critical mass, and businesses start to attract businesses in the same area. It's what made Detroit for so many years the auto manufacturing hub, because if you have the factory, then you have the suppliers, then you have the supply chain. And that's what Soraa is all about. The state-of-the-art LED lighting, literally off the innovation that won the Nobel Prize, perfecting LED as a clean source of lighting that actually does its job and saves energy at the same time. And they have the best technology. And they want to be here, first, because New York is the best place to be. Number two, because we have developed this cluster of energy, clean energy, high-tech nano businesses, and this is the state that has the future for those businesses. Soraa is a $1.3 billion enterprise, 420 jobs, and that's what this is all about, my friend. It's about creating jobs for the future, so our young people stay, making linkages with our higher education facilities, so we're training them with the skills that will transfer to the businesses that we brought here of tomorrow, right? That's what Silicon Valley was all about. They had Stanford University creating these young minds, and they stayed in the area, and they developed the companies of tomorrow. That's what we're doing in New York. And that's what we're doing in upstate New York. And it is happening, and it is happening quickly, and it is building on itself. And you feel a change in energy, and you feel a change in the business environment all across the state. We just have to keep it going. We just have to keep it going. And so much of the challenge today with government is just make it happen. And you have this big bureaucracy called government with 100 loops that you have to get through. And it's not enough to have a good idea. You have to have a good idea, and then you have to get it done, which means you have to get it through that whole process. You have to get it through the state legislature, which is always simple and easy and an expeditious process. You then have to get it through the county legislature with Ryan McMahon, which is also a very easy, expeditious process. And then you have to get the permit, and then you have to get it built, but you have to make it happen. And that's what a lot of our success has been about in New York, because it was a state government that nothing happened, where good ideas went to die. That's what they used to say about Albany. Now, you give us the germ of a good idea. We will nurture it, we will grow it until it blooms, and then we will make it happen. The next person who I have the pleasure of introducing is spectacular in that regard of making things happen. And that is the bottom line of successful regions, regions with a future, regions that are coming back. and this is a really talented and gifted partner for us. Give a big welcome to County Executive Joni Mahoney.